of you and of you and the reflection of my face, so wouldn't even recognize or who put me in this place. I wouldn't even recognize. Time has been so cruel. I couldn't blame me, but I blame you. I do. Of you and of you and I speak.
All right, we're here. Hey everyone, thanks for waiting while we got everything set up. My name is G. Casey from Team All Inspiration, and with me is my buddy Stark. How you doing today?
I am awake, which is great.
Awesome.
Hopefully, I'll still be awake by the end of the cast, as it is 3 in the morning.
Yeah, well, hopefully you are too. Well, we're doing some semifinals games today, so hopefully that's enough to keep you awake and pumped up. We have a pretty good matchup going right now with Team All Inspiration versus CT6. Had a couple good games against them in the previous season. And CT6 EU actually won the finals last. I always want to say last year because that's how real sports work. But last season, which was just a few months ago, they won that season. And so we're gonna have our work cut out for us. But I don't know. Do we have anything else to say before we just want to jump in right into game one?
I don't think there's too much to say apart from both teams are just really high quality teams with a lot of good players. The game should be very entertaining.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I'm sure they will be. We do have a TVT to start off, so not the best start, but it'll be fine.
Wow, that's wow. Okay.
We got Fruit Potato from Team All Inspiration facing off against CT6's Vespasian on Zelnaga Caverns.
Yeah, I mean, what with the new maps recently announced, I won't be missing this map. I'll be honest. It's interesting for Terran versus Terran for sure.
Yeah, well, let's get into that a little bit after we introduce the players. I'll start first by introducing the teal player in the top right corner of Zelnaga Caverns. Spawning for Team All Inspiration, it's Fruit Potato.
And to the bottom left side of Zelnaga Caverns, we have spawning for CT6, the orange Terran player, Vespasian.
So Terran versus Terran on Zelnaga Caverns. On your during your ladder games, what do you usually kind of see during this matchup on this map?
I see shenanigans, just like this game. We have an SCV going down to, I believe this is Tasteless' Secret Hallway. For those of you who haven't played StarCraft or watched StarCraft in like 2010, 2011, you have no idea what that is, but this is Tasteless' Secret Hallway, I believe.
Barracks going down, so
yeah.
Proxy. And there's an SCV going out for Vespasian as well. It looks like he's just planning a scout, though, so he's actually going to see this relatively soon. He's delaying himself a bit by checking the watchtowers, but I do like that option because it'll catch any proxies that may have been placed in a poor spot.
Yeah, so as soon as this SCV from Vespasian goes into a Fruit Potato space, he's going to realize, hang on a minute, I'm missing a barracks, and I see a gas geyser. So he knows, or he will be knowing very shortly, that there is a proxy, at the very least, proxy barracks. It could well be going up to proxy factory as well. We see him clicking on the gas geyser there and seeing it wasn't a gas first, so it's unlikely to be a fast proxy factory. But even so, the barracks isn't here, right? It's somewhere else. Something is afoot. And we have Fruit Potato is queuing up the tech lab.
Okay, so is this going to be that Marauder push that I've heard a lot about, but I actually haven't seen too much of?
Yeah, I'm secretly hoping it's the proxy Ghost Rush, but it's very likely going to be the proxy Marauder coming out here. We do see the retreat bunker from Fruit Potato coming down here. This is going to be like the backup bunker. He's going to stick a bunker much more aggressively forward afterwards, and the first Marauder with concussive shells is going to come out. And
nice.
We do see from
Vespasian,
yeah, he's not got his factory coming out yet, and I don't think he's realized that this is happening yet. Otherwise, we'd probably see a bunker coming down towards the front. But he's going straight into second gas.
Well, looking at his vision here, he doesn't see the bunker out front yet, so he's pretty much just sitting back in his base. He's going to have 2 Marines out as the Marauder makes his way up the ramp here to see what he can see.
Yeah, and this Marauder is going to be picking away at one of these Marines. Oh my God, okay. that is so low. This Marauder is going to have to sit in the bunker or just sit behind other Marauders for the time being. But now Vespasian knows what's going on. I think he was maybe expecting Proxy Reaper play, but even so, this second gas seems a choice that I can't really explain at the moment. But we do have a Proxy Factory going down from Vespasian. So there we go. I can now explain this. This game is getting pretty crazy.
Wow. So he's putting a lot of investment into this factory over here when he kind of needs to be focused on defending this push first, don't you think? Or is that something that you would see kind of regularly, like to proxy the proxier, even
well,
while you're defending?
Just to give some background on Vespasian, he is the type of player who's very experienced in the unorthodox Terran style. So I imagine he's probably done this proxy Marauder build that Fruit Potato is doing a lot, and he knows that okay, once I've got the bunker down, I'm actually going to be pretty safe, or I would assume he thinks. So he's probably feeling quite safe to proxy both the factory and the starport, and he's rushing out for the Widow Mine. I'm wondering if he's going to be going for a tech lab afterwards, maybe getting a Banshee out of here, or if he's going to try and drop the Widow Mines. But Fruit Potato is flying the barracks home, so he's just satisfied with the damage he's done at the moment, and we're going to see how he handles this follow-up proxy. Is this mine going to walk in?
He opened the door for the mine. Oh my God, that mine is just waltzing right through.
What a troll mine! Oh my God, but there's a mine, so he can mine while he mines. Oh my goodness. This
couple
is
SCVs going down. Yeah, oh, actually, that was only one SCV getting a kill, but yeah, 2 mines just buddies right now. And nicely done by Fruit Potato. I think that scan was worth it. That was a pretty good play there.
And Fruit Potato did find the proxy factory with his barracks that's floating home. There's another sentence you don't see every day. And this second mine, is it going to walk? Oh, thank God for that. The door is shut by Fruit Potato.
I was going to say, if that didn't happen, that would have been pretty terrible for Fruit Potato here. But now, it's kind of hard to say who's... Well, actually, Vespasian has the SCV lead here. I wonder what he's going to do with it. It looks like he's just building another barracks at home and maybe switching into a kind of bio play after... he's done harassing with this, with this Banshee that's coming out of the proxy starport. So I don't know if that Banshee's really going to be able to do too much damage, or at least it's going to have to wait until Cloak finishes. No engineering bay for Fruit Potato, though, so it's going to be... I mean, he needs to get that down now, or else this Widow Mine's not really going to help him out too much.
Well, it'll be a little tricky, but he is consciously... He was saving up the scan. He's now throwing it in Vespasian's base and seeing a second barracks coming down. Also, no command center from Vespasian, so he knows it's not in the natural because there's a bunker with Marauders there. So where is this command center? And Vespasian is pulling all his SCVs.
Well, it's going to be spotted by the 2 Marauders in the bunker here, so he knows what's coming. Fruit Potato is going to be able to set himself up. Oh, there's a Raven popping out, so that's actually beautiful to help deal with this Banshee here.
But this tank is going to be causing some serious grief for Fruit Potato. He doesn't have the tank of his own, so these 2 tanks from Vespasian can actually just waltz right up. They can go wherever they want right now. Vespasian is just blasting down the front door.
This is a really good setup for Vespasian right now, and he's got the worker lead behind this, although the workers are coming. I forgot about that, actually. All the workers coming in, I don't even think he actually had to do this, because if this attack doesn't kill Fruit Potato, then he's going to find himself really behind.
Oh, the Banshee just goes down. A cheeky shot from the Widowmine there, taking out the Banshee. That is huge from Vespasian side of things, but we do have the second Banshee coming in, but it's contested already by the Viking and the Raven. And I think Vespasian's going to lose air control, which is pretty critical for these tanks to have vision.
Nice reaction and good decision-making from Fruit Potato here to get all the SCVs around that tank. There's going to be an SCV something happening over here by this tank.
Keep preparing the tank, though. Keep preparing the tank. Oh, another shot from that Widowmine. Oh my goodness. This is
not going to work. I think Fruit Potato's going to hold this.
This is crazy. Oh,
that tank goes down.
Oh my goodness, this is absolutely wild. Now, Fruit Potato's pulling his SCVs, but Vespasian doesn't have much left. But
he's got a tank and 2 Marines. This Widowmine is going to be pretty huge, so that Raven needs to stay alive. Oh my god. That could get a pretty monster shot off. Nice job, though, Fruit Potato pulling 1 SCV to bait that mine shot. Or did he do that? That mine actually didn't shoot. Yeah, there he is. He's doing that right now. And this is so close. A Banshee popping up for Fruit Potato, though. That's going to be able to take care of that tank.
Yeah, Banshees are especially strong against SCV pull type plays because the SCV puller will normally be wanting to drop mules at home. And yeah, somehow Vespasian did misread what he was doing. I think the proxy marauder is what he was referring to there. He was taking a very quick second gas, and the proxy marauder just contained him on one base, and he was forced into the SCV pull.
Well, the funny thing is, like, the proxy Reaper is what usually happens in that matchup, right? And you can kind of see, like, I don't know if I've never seen a proxy marauder play actually work in that situation. It looked like Vespasian, he didn't have to do too much to defend against it, though. Like, he just got the 1 bunker, and then he filled it up, and then it was like, what can the Marauders do?
Yeah, like, Vespasian went for the barracks before gas, which is less standard. It's not, like, totally uncommon, but normally you see gas first in TVT, so the proxy marauder normally hits when there's only like maybe 2, max 3 Marines. And here, like, Vespasian was on a solid 3 Marines when the Marauders were arriving, and he handled the initial push pretty well, but as he said in the game, he seemed to misread the situation there and cost him the game.
Yeah, that was a crazy game, though. That's one of the craziest TVTs I've actually seen. It was pretty exciting. That Banshee was clutch for Fruit Potato, and without that, I don't know if he was going to be able to win that.
Yeah, the Widowmines as well, though, because Vespasian pulled all those SCVs. Like I was saying, he can't afford scans. So the Cloak Banshees and the Widowmines, they did a lot of work. Probably saved Fruit Potato's life in that game.
Yeah, for sure. Really good game by both players. Exciting way to kick things off, and that's all Inspiration going to be getting the first win of the series. So let's go ahead and jump into game 2 after a really short break here. We're just going to take a second to get set up, and we'll be in here.
Now read the world. Oh yeah! I'm gone.
All right, here we are to kick off set number 2 here. Another TVT for you guys. And let's go ahead and introduce the players. I'll start off by introducing the... Oh my god, I'm colorblind. I think that's the pink Terran player in the bottom right corner of Ohana. Yep. It is spawning for CTL8, Shinobu.
And towards the upper right side of Ohana, also means family, if you didn't know, we have for All Inspiration and admin for this tournament, also the red Terran player, TB Ham.
Did TB Ham spawn as random in this game? And
he is random, yes.
Yeah.
So that
giving us another TVT by luck.
Yep. But we are going to see some interesting decisions forced out of Shinobu. Like, I think it's very unlikely to see a gas first from Shinobu, which is maybe what he would like to do. And he also wouldn't like to wall off at the front, but if TB Ham spawned a Zerg, he's kind of forced to build this barracks at the front. So this is a little bit of an edge for TB Ham coming into the game. That's what you get as random player. But the disadvantage there is you don't really have a main race, so it's a bit of a
Exactly.
trade-off.
It's really hard to practice for that, right? Like you can practice against Terran all you want, but you're going to get 3 different matchups that you're practicing for. Whereas Shinobu practicing, well, same thing actually. The difference there is that he knows his race as well as possible. And I'm not saying that TB Ham doesn't know Terran as well as possible, but depending on the time,
matchups.
Exactly. So it's a little bit tougher for both players in an interesting little way here. But we did get a TVT, and both STVs going out to scout out, and Shinobu's going to get the information very shortly here. If not, the 2 STVs may be passing ships in the night on the opposite side of the map here and not spotting each other. So Shinobu is actually going to see this a little bit later than he would have liked.
Yeah, but we do see the Reaper come out for Shinobu, and Reapers aren't particularly uncommon in TVT like the previous game. The normal standard would be the gas first, but you can open up maybe even up to 2 Reapers and try and pressure the gas first players, Marines that come out. It'll be interesting to see if he does opt to go for the second Reaper or straight into the factory here. And from TB Ham, we do have the more standard gas first play. The decision point that we'd be looking for next is he going to be throwing down the second gas for that fast Cloak Banshee or Siege Tank or maybe Raven play?
He does spot the Reaper. Oh, that Reaper actually letting that SCV live here as Shinobu just skates right on by. And TB Ham knows it's coming, which is pretty standard, as you said. I mean, in pretty much every matchup for a Terran player, I think it's fine to open up with a Reaper to get that quick scout off and, maybe pick off a couple workers. But it looks like Shinobu just sitting back for a minute here. I guess he's macroing up at home. He's actually going to be dropping that second star or that second command center pretty early here.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
This is a pretty ballsy play. If he's going to be doing this, he's going to have to rush out a Viking from his starport whenever he throws it down, because he is going to be under threat from things like Banshees or even like a fast medevac drop of some kind. He needs the Viking to help anchor his second command center a lot safer. And from TB Ham, it looks like we're going to be having a Cloak Banshee or a Raven opener from this starport.
It's worth noting too. I think it's going to be a Banshee. Yeah. It's going to go Banshee. There it is. Cloak and Banshee start at the same time. It's worth noting these Marines by TB Ham did a great job shooing that Reaper out of the way. And if you look at Shinobu's vision, he didn't even spot that second gas. So he's not fully aware of what's happening here. And when it's a Cloak Banshee that surprises you in your main, it's not a good situation. Luckily, though, that engineering bay is up, so he can kind of build a turret. And hopefully get away with that, because if he survives this attack, he's going to definitely have a lead with the second command center.
That's for sure. This second command center represents the double SCV production, the double muling as well. As soon as Shinobu stabilizes from TB Ham's planned attack, which is going to be siege tanks as well, this is a very aggressive play on one base from TB Ham. So if Shinobu can stabilize from this attack, his economy is going to skyrocket past TB Ham. So TB Ham has to do damage to deny this natural.
Yeah, and the scan dropping on TB Ham just as that little force was moving out. So, or actually, sorry, the force is still here, but it does see the tank and it does see the buildings and production structures for TB Ham. So Shinobu knows what's coming. And there's a turret already built, so a Viking in place as well. So if that Cloak doesn't go down prematurely here, that Banshee can take a couple shots.
This Viking could have been maybe flying across the map to try and catch the Banshee before it Cloak finishes, but that's a bit of a risky play, especially with this later starport. We do have a scan going down from Shinobu, but it seems it was a bit rushed here. The Banshee just quite easily flies away here.
Yeah, that was a bit of a misplay, I think, by Shinobu, dropping that scan way too early. The Viking wasn't even in range yet. But the damage is going to be pretty minimal as long as... well, I don't know, actually. If he can pick off a couple supply depots here, I'd actually be going for that tech lab if I were TB Ham, but...
Well, that being said, I think the choice for rushing the stim pack out from Shinobu is actually a bit of a misplay. I would much prefer the siege tank here, because TB Ham's siege tanks can actually just waltz right in. There's no siege tanks or banshees preventing him from sticking his tanks wherever he wanted. So I think as soon as TB Ham realizes, hey, there's no siege tank out for Shinobu, he's going to be sieging a lot more aggressively here with these tanks.
Yeah, and the scan dropping on TB Ham just as that little force was moving out. So TBM following up this aggressive push with a CC on the low ground back at home. He's going to have tanks there to defend, or he can bring that tank with him all the way back to Shinobu's base if he wants. But he set up a pretty good siege here with 2 tanks and a Viking and a Banshee. It's going to be really hard for Shinobu to kind of break free of this, especially, you know, 2 siege tanks in this position. This ground army for Shinobu is going to get wrecked.
Yeah, and TB can even spread his Marines out around, like a concave around the bottom of the ramp here, so as soon as Shinobu tries to rush down, he won't be taking many splash damage shots from the siege tank or the Hellions from Shinobu, so TB has got this natural on lockdown. He has effectively neutered the second command center from Shinobu, because any double SCV production that Shinobu makes now, it doesn't really do anything, because he's already beginning to oversaturate his main base, whereas TB is going to be just transferring them to his new natural.
A second Viking joining the fight for TV as well. That's going to be key here in getting that air dominance and taking out that Viking of Shinobu's. He did spot that medevac as well, and that's one thing he's kind of got to be careful with, is the fact that Shinobu could just sort of pick up and leave. And if TB doesn't see that, it could be trouble. But here's the engagement happening right now.
Yeah, all of these Marines getting completely shelled by TB tanks, and Shinobu tried to bust down there, but the problem here is you can't really bust down into this kind of contain unless you are sure it's going to work, because all that really happened there was Shinobu lost a bunch of units and didn't really achieve anything. He's still locked on one base. TB beginning to drop mules now on his natural. He's upping his production structures. He's getting stim. We're probably going to be seeing an engineering bay come down soon for some upgrades. Maybe some medevacs coming out.
Beautiful cloak by that Banshee for TB goes in and picks off the tank, so there's no defensive tanks for Shinobu right now, and that was the one kind of thing he had in his favor, was a good position on that tank. Unfortunately for TB second tank does pop out, and those Marines are pretty low, so both players have to play this pretty perfectly here, or else things could be disastrous.
Yeah, I think TB in a pretty comfortable spot, though, in comparison to Shinobu, because even if this army from TB gets cleaned up, which it eventually will, he's beginning to muster up the identical army back in his natural, and as soon as Shinobu has to clean up the force of TB in his own natural without losing that much, which is incredibly difficult, and then handle the next army as well.
Yeah, that's true. TB doing a pretty good job macroing up back at home. His second command center up and running. Double mule drops on that one. We got a reactor starport that was pumping out some Vikings. It's taking a break right now, but he can continue that production if he wants, especially once his 2-base economy gets up and going, and making the smart decision and keeping his rallying units at home to defend. Nice decision here by Shinobu, though. He went and moved that command center over to the, I guess you can say, the 3rd or 4th location, and he's going to at least be able to drop mules on that for now to boost his economy. But you're right, TB looking pretty good so far.
It might even be worth at this stage for Shinobu to use his medevac to ferry SCVs down there. It won't actually take that long, especially with the boosts, and it's actually not very far at all. You could, and he probably should actually ferry some SCVs down there. It's a pretty risky play, but he's behind, and you need to take some risks to try and get back in the game here. This contain is still set up in his natural at the 1330 mark at this stage, and TB just finished his 3rd base.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think he. What's this? The drop is moving out. No SCVs in it. There's actually Marines, and it did go. The 2 drops are going to spot each other, aren't they? They're going to.
That is so close. They pass. Either player going to react to it. I don't think TB really cares. He's got enough units at home to handle whatever Commander 1 medevac.
The Shinobu Viking just flew right past the 2 medevacs. It totally had a chance to take this down, and this drop is going to land right in the main of Shinobu.
I don't think it wants to land there, though. There is still 2 siege tanks and a lot of Marines with stim and combat shield, but this is a much safer area to land. If these tanks can siege up before the Marines stim over, this is going to be a lot of damage from TB
Oh, here we go. The Marines are getting in there. Pretty nicely done, though, by Shinobu. He's going to lose some, but overall, well, there you go. The Marines for TB actually surviving that drop, and they're still doing damage here. Doing damage to the barracks and to the reactor. Meanwhile, the drop for Shinobu, what happened with that? I didn't see it.
It had to turn around. It was forced back. It didn't achieve any damage in TB natural. It was forced to come home to attempt to clean up this drop, but he's being killed by his own Sim City here. These Marines are getting funneled in, but eventually this drop is going to get cleaned up. But
second drop at the 3rd, though, or 4th, or whatever this this building is. He might actually be able to pick off that command center.
I think he's going to die.
I think it's GG.
That's huge. That is huge. TB Ham at this stage, he's like, yeah, okay, I don't need to contain your natural anymore because you don't have a command center to put there. Oh, actually, he does. He has a third command center.
That's true, and it actually very lucky for Shinobu that that's the case, because otherwise he'd be in a lot of trouble here. But even still, TB Ham kind of taking a major chokehold on this game right now. I mean, if I were him, I'd be moving this third base into position and getting set up, and just as I say that, there it goes, and look at all the barracks in his base. He's ready for this game right now.
Yeah, the second factory coming up as well. We're going to have double siege tank production soon from TB Ham, and another issue that Shinobu's going to have is his main base is practically mined out at this stage. TB Ham is going to be following up shortly on that, but there's still a very significant income lead here for TB Ham as he lands his third base. He can begin to also move out and pressure the location in between the natural and third for Shinobu as well. Sieging up, you can siege on these two gas geysers in the natural and lock those down. So I imagine that's where we're going to be seeing TB Ham move out next, because you do have to keep the pressure up.
Looking at the upgrade tabs here, TB Ham has a pretty significant advantage there as well, although +1 attack is finishing up for Shinobu very shortly. I'd like to see there it is +1 armor going down for TB Ham and +2 attack. So at this point, he can just play the contain game all day and just further and further his lead if he wants to. Force Shinobu into making a frustrating decision here. And it looks like TB Ham's going to meet him out on the map. Neither tanks are sieged up yet, so no one really knows exactly what's happening here.
There we go. TB Ham realizes, and oh no, Shinobu's units just automatically run forwards. There a little bit of misawareness there from Shinobu, and TB Ham pounces. He takes the bet. He thinks he can stim up around here and take this, and I think he can.
He is. Oh, focus the tanks. Go ahead, and both tanks going down, and there's a GG for Shinobu. And wow, this is that was good. TB Ham looking a little bit like a Terran master in that game, don't you think? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
when I say master, I don't mean Master League. I just meant like a really good. He played it really well, and it worked out in his favor.
Played it really well. Yeah, I think TVT is certainly a fairly straightforward matchup when you manage to take control in the opening stages, and TB Ham just had a superior build order there, maybe because of the random edge, shall we say, or maybe just because he's more practiced at that style than Shinobu is. But it worked out a lot better for TB Ham than it did Shinobu, and he just rode that lead all the way till the end of the game.
Well, my favorite thing about the build that TB Ham opened with was that it was like the Banshee, Cloak Banshee, but followed up with Siege Tank and Marines as well, which... Because in most times when you see a Terran go for that Cloak Banshee and it just doesn't do any damage, which is kind of what happened with TB Ham, he had something else to follow it up with, and he kept that Banshee alive, which was key in picking off like a tank at a certain time, and it just allowed him to sort of take hold of the game right from the start and then just expand behind it and keep the lead the whole time. It was really well done.
I agree.
Yeah. So 2-0 for Team All Inspiration right off the bat, and we're going to be moving into set number 3 very shortly, unless you had something else you wanted to say about that game.
Not really, just well played. Pleased to see that TB Ham's practice paid off. I knew he was working pretty hard for that, and he was most worried about the TVT, so he made it look easy.
Yeah, definitely. And not to take away from Shinobu either. It's just that when you don't know what your opponent is doing right off the start, whether you don't even know what race they are, it's really hard to prepare. So that's where random kind of gets that edge, right? So good job. And yeah, let's move on to set 3. We got the replay lobby loaded up. Just going to take a small break and get this started.
Yep, see you guys soon.
Now read the world. Oh yeah. I'm gone.
All right, here we are, set number 3, another TVT for you guys. This time, this matchup here between these two players could have easily been the ace match, I think, for semifinals. But let's go ahead and introduce them. In the top right corner of Daybreak, spawning for Team All Inspiration and also my co-caster for this event, it's going to be All In Stark.
It's me. And towards the bottom right-hand side of the map, Daybreak, we have spawning for CT6 the orange Terran player, Guluhind.
Another TVT here, and like I said, both of these players extremely good players for their respective teams. I don't know Gulahin personally too well, but I do know that through the forums and everything, I've seen him winning all these different, player-made events and tournaments. So I know he's really good, and I'm actually excited to cast a game with him because I don't really know too much about him, except for the fact that somebody told me he likes Banshees. So that's one thing.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. But having like arranged this match with him and playing with him and hanging out before and after, he's a super nice guy, very friendly, very good player. Like there are some players who are good, but they let that ego get to him. But Gulahin's really nice guy, super chill. It was a pleasure playing him.
That's awesome to hear. So I think that was a gas first by both players, which is pretty normal in this matchup. The Barracks getting down a little bit quicker for Gulahin. Not going to make too much of a difference, but just a little bit more crisp there.
I slightly misplaced my supply depot early on and had to cancel a remake, so that I was missing 25 minerals, and that's probably where the delay in the Barracks came from.
That makes sense. All right, so we've seen a couple TVTs so far. We've seen cheese by both players in the first set. Second set, not necessarily cheese, but a very aggressive opening from TB Ham. So I'm interested to see what other types of styles we can see here. And that's kind of the good thing about TVT these days is that we've said this so many times, but it's kind of taken over the PvP matchup where there are so many different ways you can open up and hurt your opponent off of one base. So you can never... Oh, look at this SCV battle going on.
Yeah, Gulahin decides, though my SCV's life is more worth it, I need to check the state of his second gas, see if it's super early or not. Decides to leave before the Marine comes out, which is a pretty wise decision there.
Both players staying on one gas here. Gulahin getting ready, though. Yeah, that second gas dropping down right now for him. So he's planning a more tech-heavy opening. I would assume Tech Lab going down on that Barracks.
And he's going to lift it up and stick the starport right on that Tech Lab. It's a bit of an interesting way of doing things. Normally we see the Tech Lab be built on either the barracks or the factory as the starport's building. That way you don't have to cease your marine production. But it seems that Gulahin's comfortable doing it this way. He's stuck both depots towards the ramp, so if any kind of aggression does come up this ramp, he can funnel it and maximize his units concave at the top there.
All right, so double gas by Gulahin. On Stark's end, though, we only have the one gas. So what type of openings exist for Terran off of just one gas, but remaining on one base here? Like, what's the plan?
So for one gas openers, you're nearly always having this 1-1-1 setup. So it's going to be no add-ons for the most part. Maybe you get a reactor, but it's going to be a lot of Marines, a lot of Hellions, and medevacs. And you drop and you pressure as much as you can. And that's what we do see here as the medevac is being rallied across the map to rendezvous with these units at the far watchtower.
Yeah, and right now, as it stands, your army is definitely in a good position to do some damage here. But the only issue is that in TVT, this Banshee can kind of just fly over it and ignore it and just go and harass you. No engineering bay in sight yet for Stark, so no ability to make that crucial missile turret in the mineral line. But if you can get enough damage with this push, you're done, then it might all be worth it.
It might all be worth it. We do see that for the ground units, I have the Marine lead and the Hellion lead, but we do see the Defender's advantage here from the high ground. Catch a Hellion for free, but it's busting right up with these Marines and Hellions right now.
Wow, lots of damage going to be happening here. That Banshee, did it have to turn back? Yeah, it did. It has to turn around, come back home. These Marines are doing crap tons of damage here. That Hellion as well. We have 5 SCVs going down. All the Marines, 2 of them getting up, actually, and that medevac's going to boost on out of there. Or it's just going to drop and try to get a couple more SCV kills here.
Yeah, Gulahin here opts for the safer option. You can defend these kinds of pushes without bringing the Banshee home, but you will be suffering maybe... It's a risk-reward thing of suffering 10 or 15 SCV losses of your own, but also killing 10 or 15 SCVs of the other player. So Gulahin deciding it's the best of one. Let's take the safe route. Let's make sure I don't die to something dumb. And the supplies are basically dead even right now. Both command centers are going down at the same time. But Gulahin does have the tech labs and the add-ons working, whereas I'm only building them right now.
Yeah, so he's got a little bit of an edge here, having held off that attack. He's actually only behind, despite losing 5 workers there. He's only behind by 1 right now. So I'm not sure exactly what happened to cause that. Would that just be a slip up in SCV
I
production?
probably didn't just make SCVs, but
Yeah.
I do get a nice Banshee for free here, so I guess that helps even things out here. But yeah, at this stage, I did scan the main of Guluhind, and I saw the setup that's very similar to what TB Ham did yesterday, 3 a.m. It's the previous game. There we go. So I was expecting some kind of heavy tank pressure, but this game I was expecting it to be dropped in my base with the Raven for auto turrets, so that's why I got these mines set up. But to be honest, I think I overmade the mines, and I actually cut quite heavily into the tank count here. And we're going to have a very similar situation this game to the previous game.
That's what it looks like here. We got a nice amount of tanks, 2 tanks moving across the map. We have a Raven for Gulahin, the attacker this time, but you do have 2 Vikings here, so you know if the army positioning in micro is strong, then you can maybe pick off that Viking here, but it's gonna have to be careful because once you lose those Vikings, things can get a little bit hairy.
Yeah, it's all about the air control here because that allows me just to fly above the siege tanks here and maybe pick them off if I get a Banshee out later. And it also gives Guluhin the high ground vision for his siege tanks to shell up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's actually giving you some time here to go ahead and catch up in the siege tank count. Nicely done by these Vikings providing vision. Oh, that tank is going to go down, so good job there. The Marine count is pretty high down here, though, still forcing you to be careful. But the Marines are going to move down.
Yeah, at this stage I was...
engagement.
Yeah, this engagement got very strange. I was thinking I could take this tank down, but I didn't account for the Raven that was nearby. And these auto turrets are ridiculously strong. They have essentially the same defensive stats, hit points, and armor as a siege tank. For as dainty as they look, they are very tanky.
That's disgusting. Yeah, they easily push you back. Nice play by Gulahin to drop those turrets down, and almost took out a medevac as well. Worth noting here that the experiencer for Gulahin is almost fully saturated on minerals over back at home, so the longer this goes on, like you said, very identical to the second set we casted, Gulahin just increasing his lead further and further as this game goes on.
Yeah, I think an error from me in this game was I have so many medevacs out right now. I have 4. I think I could have cut that count in half maybe, and also used them to pressure the other side of the map, because if you go over to Gulahin's side of the map, he only just now has units sat in his natural ready to defend. Previously he was rallying all of his units across. We have like the last Marine and showing up at my natural. But I think I could have maybe pressured with these medevacs going across the map here, but I am breaking out of the natural, or breaking Gulahin out of the natural now, and am able to land it. But as you were saying earlier, Gulahin's natural is already basically fully saturated now. He just needs another gas geyser and a few more SCVs on minerals.
Yeah, but you are Maynarding these, I hate that word, I don't even know why I said it. You're transferring these SCVs over to the natural and getting yourself up and going here. The worker count is still pretty far in the lead for Gulahin, so you're going to have to make something happen in order to kind of even up this game. 3rd command center already nearly finished for Gulahin. Yours is not in sight yet, so
yeah.
Gulahin going for the long haul here, and he's making some pretty good decisions, I'd have to say.
Yeah, it's interesting how similar this game looks to the previous game, actually. We have the, as soon as my natural lands his 3rd command center finishes, that was the same in the previous game as well. At this stage, I honestly felt pretty lost because I've never faced any type of pressure like this in TVT before, even though it's quite common. I guess that's my limited Terran experience showing through, but Gulahin is showing he's a master of knowing what's up. He knows he has a lead. He's keeping his units in the main base because he doesn't want to die to anything dumb like a large Doom drop, which I'm going to try and attempt, apparently. Yeah. He is already ready. He is fully aware of what can happen.
Yeah, his Marine sitting in that location was key as it spotted your army moving up, so he was really able to react properly here. and it's looking pretty tough because initially I like your decision to move out because you probably know you're behind too at this point, and
Yeah.
it's just such a bad situation. It's when StarCraft not quite as fun as it usually is when you just know you're behind and there's nothing you can do.
Well,
So again,
I don't think it's quite nothing. Like, I knew I had a medevac lead, and I know that a large drop getting into his main base is a way of me getting back into the game. But Guluhin knew that as well. He recognized, oh, there's a lot of medevacs there, and I'm ahead. So how can I lose? If those medevacs get into my main base, that can really suck. So let not let that happen. And he was just well prepared for that. So
yeah, that's kind of
oh,
what I meant. Like I didn't mean that there was no options, but the fact that you took an option that was logical and Gulahin, his logic was there as
two
well,
steps
and he
ahead of
was
me.
able,
Yeah.
yeah, just able to push it back. So now you have to try something else. And I do like getting that third command center up, and then I guess just trying to use your macro skills to come back into the game. Um, so yeah, we'll see what actually happens here because it looks like your army's mobilizing around, and Gulahin about to land his third base.
Yeah, the armies are about the same size, but with Guluhin landing the third base much quicker than I will be, we'll see his supply is very likely going to climb a lot higher than mine as he's getting that extra income in. He's able to produce off of these extra production structures that he's already setting up. He's got the 5 barracks, 2 factories, whereas I'm only just finishing up my barracks now.
There's a huge engagement happening at the third base here, and wow, nicely done by Gulahin here. He picks up his Marines. He basically sieged up his siege tanks just in time to catch all your Marines stimming forward, shelled a whole bunch of them out, and then picked up all his Marines and dropped all over your army, and then just shut it right down. Nice little micro trick here. And I think something to take away from Gulahin's play here is his Marine placements. Just little Marines just scattered all around the map and always ready to respond to any sort of army movement by yourself, and he's been able to respond perfectly to everything. It's pretty nuts, actually.
Yeah, and during all of that going on from Guluhin, he was also dropping in my natural. He killed about half of the SCVs working in my natural. I was forced to pull off the line there to help fend that off, and he's now taken around a 50 supply lead. So given that engagement working and his drop working out and his third base being saturated, whereas mine is barely scraping along, we do see this supply lead is getting pretty significant. The fourth command center now going down for Guluhin. His upgrades starting 2-2, getting his mech weapons as well, whereas I'm only starting combat shields.
Yeah, this is not really looking too good, and it looks like Gulahin is actually pretty much ready to go now. He's not going to sit back and wait for those upgrades, or maybe he will. I'm not really sure. He's breaking up these rocks to open up alternate attack paths, and I'm not sure exactly how important that is in a TVT, but doing it anyway. And
yeah, I mean, I don't think it makes that much of a difference, really. But I don't think he's going to wait for the upgrades to finish because he knows he has a lead. He knows he's going to max out faster than me because he's taken favorable engagements and has taken his bases faster than me. So he can just force the engagement now where he's maxed out. Even though our upgrades are basically even, he just has more stuff. And he can just bully me around like that.
And he's just moving his army back down to the third, and it looks like looks like you anticipate that getting a couple tanks sieged up here, but his tank count is so high right now. The one thing I'm surprised to see is not very many Vikings, if any at all, by either player. No Vikings in this TVT. Usually you see a handful from at least one player.
Yeah, normally the mech player likes to get Vikings to stop dropping happening on top of his army and things like that. We do see a large engagement here coming in. Guluhin finding the hole in my defenses, which was, to be quite honest, pretty big, and this huge amount of siege tanks.
Oh, man.
Completely demolishing all of my Marines.
To be honest, your Marines were doing a pretty good job there. At first I thought Guluhin had the advantage with the army positioning, but your Marines were taking care of him pretty easily. Then once all the tanks sieged up, it was just GG from there. Wow.
Yeah, and I dropped a scan further down the map, and I thought, oh, nice, I can just about clean up this tank force. And then I saw the identical army moving out again, and I was like, well, can't handle the next one. That was well played by Guluhin there. And we talked for like 25 minutes after that game, saying, oh, yeah, we could have done this differently. Maybe if this thing played out differently, it would have helped me or helped him, stuff like that. So that was really cool.
That's really the best thing about StarCraft, to be honest. It's one of those games where after the game, especially one with like such well, I don't know exactly how emotional you guys were, but when you're playing in the semifinals and it's just a really huge game, a game like StarCraft is perfect for just after the game, just chilling out, talking about it, and going over all the different scenarios in your head. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I was kind of like praising Gulhin a lot there, and I'm not trying to take away from your play, but it just seems like
he played better.
He's really good at TVT. I can see what everybody, what all the hype is about there, and nice job by him. And that actually gives CT6 the first win of the series, and it's going to bring the score to 2-1.
Yeah, so much closer series now. 2-0 is starting to run away with the series, but Gulhin making it now a 2-1. All that CT6 need is another map, and it's tied up again.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to take a quick break here after 3 games. We're going to chill out for maybe about 5 minutes, I think, and get ourselves prepared for the next set of games we're going to cast. But thanks very much for being here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the game so far. Lots of chat going on. I'm going to have to get caught up on. And yeah, do you have anything to say before the break?
No, not really. Just excited for the next game. Do we have a teaser of who it is?
We do. It is a Mech Terran from Team All Inspiration.
Ooh.
Who's also undefeated this season, I think. Or did he lose 1 game?
He dropped 1, I think. Maybe 2. But I think he's our most consistent player.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's take a quick break, and we'll jump into this game.
of you and of you and the reflection of my face, so wouldn't even recognize or who put me in this place. I wouldn't even recognize. Time has been so cruel. I couldn't blame me, but I blame you. I do. Of you and of you and
Now read the world. Oh yeah. I'm gone.
All right, we're back. Thanks for waiting, guys. We really appreciate that. And we're already into a game here. This is going to be a TVP on Cloud Kingdom. So let's go ahead and introduce the red Terran player in the bottom corner of Cloud Kingdom, spawning for Team All Inspiration. Our gold player prodigy, it is Minimum Rage.
And towards the top part of Cloud Kingdom, or is it the bottom part of Cloud Kingdom? I'm not quite certain yet. His Nexus is at the top at the very least. We have for CT6, it is going to be Ray. Ray.
I've always said Ray in my head, but I don't know.
It looks like Ray wanted to go for an in-base proxy gate, but he's just going to opt for the 10 pylon and macro out of this. But he was definitely wanting to in-base proxy gate there. Wow. That was pretty close call there for Mini Rage already, as he's building a supply depot.
That's one of those instances where building a supply depot on the ramp is actually helpful.
Yeah,
that he was able
the
to
only
spot
instance, really.
Yeah.
Like, this particular timing, if you stick the first depot there against Protoss, you scout for the in-base proxy gate. That is the purpose of that.
Well done there. Just lucking out with the build order win already. But Ray, as we said, is going to macro out of this and drop the gas down in the gateway in his own base. Being a real hassle to that supply depot there. That's that SCV is like, man, just get the hell out of here.
Yeah, those probes are so annoying. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Mini Rage, he has gone for the gas first against Protoss. That's his preferred style. I'm wondering what kind of opener we are going to be seeing out of him. Maybe you could go for like a a fast medevac, kind of like I did in the previous game, actually. That works against Protoss too, the fast Marine Hellion medevac drop. Or you could go for the mines as well. Both are pretty fast.
He's opened with a variety of different types of drops, I find. There's always usually a medevac, and I think he favors the mines over the Hellions in a TVP. But who knows? I mean, you could really mix it up and do whatever he wants, really. So, waiting on that gas. Actually, he's got it now, so that factory is going to go down, and we'll know soon enough.
And we have the second gas coming down for Ray towards the top side of the map, chrono boosting out that Zealot, making sure he doesn't die to anything super crazy early on. Interesting to see what this second gas is going to be used for, because this probe is still out on the map, and it could throw down the third pylon in some less desirable location. As a Terran player, I have a slight opinion on that.
Yeah, well, if you're thinking proxy Stargate or something like that, it's is that what you were thinking? Because that's what I would sort of go for.
Yeah, you could proxy Stargate, proxy anything, but we see the Marine is
picks up that.
Up.
Nicely done there. That's really annoying for Ray, because that means now he's got to move another probe out onto the map and effectively kind of losing 2 probes. Oh my god, Minimum Rage just being so annoying with that NG blob. Man, my blood boils whenever I see anybody do that. I don't even play Protoss, but oh my god, it's just so annoying.
Yeah. Things going for Ray's favor though is he does have the Zealot, and the Zealot is really good at killing the NG Bay block. Normally, you try and build it. You send the probe down to see if there's an engineering bay there. If not, you can cancel the Zealot and build the Nexus. But here, Zealot's going to be really helpful in cleaning up this engineering bay. Hopefully, Minimum Rage gets to cancel off on this soon. There we go. Most of the money back.
I wonder if Ray even really cares about that, because we have 3 more gateways going down in the main, so it looks like he was planning a 4-gate ever since he wasn't able to get that proxy 2-gate in the main.
Yeah, he does have an awful lot of gas though, and Minimum Rage with the money scan. He sees all 4 gateways. He knows what's up. He knows he denied the natural. He knows he just needs to lock down in his main base right now, defend what's coming out. I would think maybe more Widow Mines would be a useful unit to have here instead of the Hellions coming out. But I guess we'll see how it goes for Minimum Rage here, holding this 4-gate.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why we have all this gas banked up, as we're just doing a 4-gate here, unless he wants to include a lot of sentries in it, which is something I'm not too familiar with here. But we do have a Marine from Minimum Rage moving around the map trying to scout for that proxy, but Ree's got a pretty good hold on the watchtower here. This bunker's going to finish up just in time, though, and Widowmine going to burrow just in time as well, I hope. Oh my god, Widowmine burrow.
Burrow! Yeah, the Widowmine's going to burrow it. Oh, and it goes off on the Mothership Core, kills the Stalker, kills the Mothership Core. That is huge. Any attempt of high ground vision is gone now, repairing the Widowmine there a little cheekily.
Yeah, and these Stalkers are putting themselves in a bad position here. That bunker's going to be more than enough, especially with this Widow Mine here. More Stalkers coming, but Minimum Rage going to be safe and pull some workers off the line here just in case. Nice job repairing that medevac and leaving 2 SCVs. He's going to go repair that Widow Mine again.
Another shot, another Stalker dead. Nearly 3 Stalkers dead. That Stalker is, he has seen some crazy stuff.
Yeah, now a Robobay going down in the main for Ray, and he is doesn't seem too interested in dropping down a Nexus, but this type of play is going to kind of run out of steam soon as he tries to do a little bit too much with just 1 base economy.
Yeah, and Minimum Rage scans the natural again. He sees, oh wait, you still don't have a natural. So he's throwing down the bunker in the main now. I think he's expecting a follow-up blink play with the amount of Stalkers he saw, which isn't completely wrong. I mean, blink plays are very common on this map, and with the 4-gate, you can go 4-gate blink quite easily. But we do see that isn't the case here for Ray. He's getting the Observer out and is going to look to transition out of this. Same for Minimum Rage, actually, with the Command Center now coming down. But he is getting Cloak for a Banshee that's hopefully going to be made soon. And he has a medevac going across the map with this Widow Mine in.
Yeah, but it was spotted by that pylon over here on the left side. So nice reaction here by Ray. He's going to be in good position. 2 Stalkers, not quite enough. Oh, 2 more coming in, though. He could still drop off that Widow Mine, but I think he's just going to boost on out of there. He's actually going to end up dying, though, I think. Just drop the Widow Mine.
Yeah, there we go. That's nice. I think it's worth the knowledge of the natural, losing both of these units. Ooh, nearly killing the mothership score again.
There is an observer on the field, though, so not going to be too much more of a hassle.
Yeah, it seems like these mothership cores have a high mortality rate in this game so far. Hopefully, hopefully this one won't die for Ray. But we do see the Banshee coming out for minimum rage and the siege tanks. So this is what us all-in players would expect from minimum rage, the mech transition.
Yep, doesn't matter what race he's playing against, he's going mech. And he pulls it off, too. So we've seen him beat a number of Protoss players this season. I wonder if Ray was scouting that, because, I mean, minimum rage is not afraid to shy away from the mech. And I would absolutely love to see a few more factories go down and, like, a crap ton of Widow Mines and tanks like he did in that one game. I can't remember the name of his opponent, but it was, I think it was Double D. And he totally, he just had so many Widow Mines, and it was, at first it was confusing to look at, but then when you see it in action, it was it all made sense. So
everything just dies. Everything dies. Yeah. All of the Protoss dies, and the Protoss is sad. That's normally how it goes. If you're making a Protoss composition that's very anti-bio, because the Protoss does have to adapt their composition here. Like we are seeing Ray is getting out his first Immortal. It seems like maybe he's done his research, but if he starts building Colossi, that's not really the units that you want against mech. They don't really... The splash damage isn't really doing anything against mech. The siege tanks will outrange it, and there isn't really units to splash onto because the mech units are so big and spread out.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. Well, he did get the Robo Base, so I think Colossi are part of his plan. Slight supply block here, though, so he's going to have to wait to get that Colossi out. You actually look at the army. Where is Ray's army? Because he's got...
it's all in the main.
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
there's 4 stalkers in the back.
Yeah, he actually dropped a pylon over on the top edge of the map too, because he's worried there's going to be some more drops. But I don't think that's really going to be the case here, as we only have tanks and Marines getting pumped out for minimum rage.
Yeah, I mean, there is this Banshee towards the bottom side of the natural. Actually, it's just about to head into the natural, but there's already an observer and several units here ready to defend this Banshee, so this is going to get shut down pretty quickly. And it looks like minimum rage is going to poke around a little bit, but I think he's going to find this observer. Is it going to get out? It's just escaping. That's nice. Yeah, I don't think he's going to try harassing there again. It's pretty hard to break a 2-base Protoss with just harassment.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to here. The second base is almost fully saturated. Looks like Ray has decided to stop with deep probes, though, so he's happy with the amount he has right now. Dropping double forge here. I don't know. I feel like he might be spreading himself a little bit thin here, especially since this main base is going to be mining out soon.
Yeah, he will be able to take the third base very shortly, but I'm still wondering what Ray's game plan is going to be against this mech, because we need to be seeing like a lot of Immortals or charge lots are pretty nice to get up on those tanks and drag the Widowmine shots onto the tanks. Tempests are nice. Void Rays can work.
I don't think
Ray... Colossus, though.
Ray can't really confirm mech yet, though, because he has pretty much 0 scouting on minimum rage. If you check Ray's vision, he doesn't even know about the natural. He only sees a bunker. So it's tough for him to really, make a decision here. He is going to find out shortly as he moves out with his pretty scary army here, holding a couple Colossi, an Immortal, and a bunch of Stalkers. So minimum rage needs to be set up properly here to defend against this, and he himself is spread out a little thin with just 1 or 2 tanks defending the third.
And next to the third, there's a 4th command center as well, so minimum rage is definitely confident that he can defend this.
Well, he knows what he's up against right now. Hopefully he can move this tank into range and get a couple more. It looks like Ray moving up into this tank fire, not the best decision here. We even have a Viking out here harassing some of these Colossi. The Marines are going down pretty quickly, but these tanks are just doing so much damage.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake there for Ray, engaging upper ramp into a siege line. I think he wasn't... Is he aware of the third base being down? He isn't aware of the third base. Yeah, so normally on this map, it's a lot nicer to move around this black S shape we see on the minimap. That allows you to come in, check if the third base is there, and if it is there, you're engaging on level ground. There's no high ground advantage for the defender there. So I would have much preferred to see Ray attack using that path, and I think it would have been a lot more successful there.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that you're coming in from the right side into a bit of a choke. It's not a complete choke, but a nice little hallway for those Colossi to work with. So, like you said, getting the scout on the third and getting a better engagement makes more sense coming from that way. Well, hopefully he's watching and he can pick up on that because, like you said, he could have done a lot of damage with that. But instead, he has to reset pretty much his entire army count. And the longer this game goes on, the more confident I get that Minimum Rage is going to take it. Because, I mean, we can see his tank count now. In a few minutes, it's going to multiply. And, I mean, by the 25, 30-minute mark, if it goes that long, we're going to see, like, 25 tanks at a Minimum Rage. And it's just going to be incredibly hard to break them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about when you're a player who has a more unique playstyle in comparison to most other players. Once you get into your comfort zone, it is a lot more comfortable for you than most other players. Like Ray probably plays against Mech maybe 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30 games, whereas Minimum Rage plays it 30 out of 30 games because he's the Mech player. So he knows all of the ins and outs of this style, whereas Ray is probably figuring it out as he goes along. Like he is now getting the charge down, the Immortals, the Temper Archives, transitioning out of Colossus. But the thing about Mech is it doesn't really attack you for a long time. It needs to build up that supply. So Ray can be expanding very aggressively here. But interestingly, that's what we see from Minimum Rage is the aggressive expansion.
Yeah, he's always really good about expanding this fast. I mean, and the planetaries and everything. I mean, he's going to have income for days, and he's going to be able to move his SCVs around to different bases because he's consistently making a new base. It's almost like he's got this mechanical rule about him where, okay, my third base is going, make a fourth. Okay, my fourth is done, make a fifth, make a sixth, and then just drop planetaries in places, and that's what he's doing here. Now, finally, that third base coming out for Ray. He's got quite a bit of oversaturation in both of his bases right now, so he's gonna find his economy pretty stunted for a while.
Yeah, he actually has enough probes for 3 fully saturated bases, but his main is effectively mined out. His natural is doing pretty okay, but in 5 or 10 minutes, that's going to be having trouble as well. So he does need to. I would say he needs to take another Nexus right now, and he can take the more traditional third base towards the upper part of the map right now. But I would really like to see that soon.
That probe came to an untimely end there, but it did spot the army. So Ray knows what's going on here with the army moving of Minimum Rage, but he's got the high ground and he's got siege tanks. Like, what can this army do? The zealots don't even. Oh, they do have charge, so that's one thing that's all right. But up that ramp, it's going to be so hard, especially with all these Widow Mines there to just completely wreck those Archons.
I'm actually very interested to see how this engagement's going to go because I think the zealots are going to drag the Widow Mine shots onto the tanks, but it seems like they don't quite drag it onto the tanks there, and all of the zealots do evaporate. But
3 Immortals
is going to be, Ray's going to be cleaning this up, and the 2 Archons as well. They are tanking a lot of damage, and Ray made that look quite easy there.
That was impressive. I didn't realize there were so many Immortals on the field, and this Banshee being incredibly annoying. But Ray's got a pretty good army composition right now. I'm kind of wondering why he's backing off.
He has no detection for this Banshee. He's been pumping out Immortals so vigorously out of this Robo, he doesn't have an observer handy. Okay. So he goes back to where his cannon is, cleaned up the Banshee, and now he's feeling a lot more confident to move out. But that bought Minimum Rage time to get his machine rolling again. His 4th base is getting saturated. Those gases are nearly saturated. We got a bit of a miss rally on one of the gas, but he's setting up this defensive position on the 4th base. They've got mines scattered in front of the tanks. We have tanks at the back. We have Vikings scattered around. And these units are just going to be continually pumped out.
Yeah, the tanks are like so many tanks being made here. But with all these Immortals, here's another engagement. These Immortals actually took a couple Widow Mine shots, not the greatest. Only 5 Immortals now. Those Widow Mines were really the game changer for Minimum Rage there. Vikings as well doing damage, and there we go.
So much shield damage from these Widow Mines. I mean, they do so much shield damage that Blizzard are going to nerf them soon. That's how much shield damage they're going to be doing.
I think Minimum Rage found the exploit. He's definitely going into
the reason.
Yeah, 6 Widow Mines pumping out now, 2 tanks at a time. He's going into my favorite play style of his here and getting even more high ground advantages up here. He's got to move the Widow Mines over too, and here they come. I like that he's mixed in Vikings too to take care of any just anything that Protoss might try. You know, if Void Rays or Colossi came out, these Archons are
You have Devas as well. Oh my god, all of those Immortals, and there was an Archon and High Templar there. They all get evaporated by those Widow Mines. These Widow Mines are so good if the Protoss doesn't have the appropriate detection and the means to handle them. Like Colossus are useful against like these kind of Widow Mines, but with the siege tanks and the Vikings, they don't really become useful anymore. You almost want Tempests or to storm the mines. Maybe it's a pretty difficult thing to break, and even more mines coming up now.
Yeah,
it's like 25 mines there.
It's pretty much ridiculous at this point, and the tanks are outranging the cannons, and this base pretty much has 0 defense for it. Look at the army for Ray. The army supply difference is 119 for minimum rage to 34 for Ray. So it looks like Ray's going to make a decision to kind of try a Zealot run by on the left side here as he moves over. Either that or he's got some other reason for going this way. Pulling everything over. He's just going to sack that third base. And if he sacks that third base, he's going to find himself on one mining base. And look at this.
Yeah, this comes back to the idea that we were saying earlier about against mech. I mean, this is basically the first major attack from minimum rage at the 25-minute mark. So Ray, apart from that little one earlier that Ray cleaned up pretty easily, Ray has had all of this time to take all of the bases on the map that he wanted, really. And he didn't do that, so he's finding his income is really hurting because a mech player is going to be very cost efficient. You need that extra money to be cost inefficient against a mech player, but this run by is doing a huge amount of work.
Yeah, so many SCVs are going to be going down here now. It looks like he just sort of committed his entire army to this, but there's 6 Widow Mines, 3 more unburrowed, and oh my god, those hits. He doesn't even care about the Widow Mines. He's just taking all these shots, and now there's one Zealot, or one Immortal, sorry, and a handful of Zealots here being shelled by tanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think minimum rage at this stage, he's totally comfortable bringing his entire army back home. He's denied the Protoss third base. He's on still 4 bases. Once this natural lands, he's going back up to 5 bases again. He is really happy right now. He's going to be setting up, I imagine, a sky transition soon. We've got 2 starports with tech labs on, 2 more starports coming out. So I imagine we're going to be seeing the Ravens, maybe the battle cruisers. I'm partial to the battle cruisers myself.
Yeah, we know. One thing, though, that is in Ray's favor here is the upgrades. +3 just finished, and it's kind of been a thing with minimum rage where he just doesn't seem to care about getting upgrades too much. +1 attack literally just finished because I just checked to see if it was there, and it wasn't. +1 armor, I mean. And +1 attack is finishing up right now. So starting to get going on those. And I mean, with the amount of bases he has, he can really get into that a little bit earlier now, but these Zealot run-bys are going to be pretty strong for a while. 3/3 charge lots are nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, super scary. Yeah, so much so that Blizzard decided to make the Hellbat. That was the original reason for the Hellbat, because charge lots was so scary. But I don't think engaging into 2 planetaries is going to be particularly cost-efficient. I mean, denying the space is all well and good, but even so, you're still just barely on 1 base yourself. I mean, yeah.
And you're showing minimum rage where you are, and now the train is on its way. These Widow Mines, my god.
This army is so terrifying from minimum rage. Like, how do you even engage into this with this kind of army comp? Like, you can run the charge lots in, sure, but all of the charge lots are going to get completely evaporated. This is pretty scary.
Somehow, though, Ray is beginning to muster up a nice Zealot Archon army with a few Immortals mixed in, trying to get that third base up again. But as soon as minimum rage decides to attack, that's when things are going to happen. And these Widow Mines are just clumping right up here on this ramp. Siege tanks on top of them as well. I love that.
That gives me nightmares. I had a moment once where I saw a stray siege tank, and I went in with my Mutilist, and there were 5 Widow Mines under the tank, and everything died.
I heard about that from some random YouTube video, and I've always wanted to see that in action. But cleaning that up pretty well here. He did lose a handful of units, but he did clean it up.
That's really indicating the power of the upgrades here. That Ray is 3/3. He could be getting shields as well, but to be honest, I think it's more important to get units out at his stage. But that's always one thing that minimum rage seems to be lacking in is the upgrades. But even so, he makes up for it in the size of the armies he just shuffles around the map. Like, this huge army moving in again on the third base of Ray. It's like the same army he just lost.
Yep. He is being attacked over here at the natural, though. That command center hasn't been turned into a planetary yet, so nice timing. Nice cancel by Minimum Rage, but able to get in there and do a little bit of damage. Those tanks, though, Minimum Rage wising up to the run-by style here of Ray and leaving some siege tanks back at home. Meanwhile, canceling that third base again. I think it was already built, actually. I think he just killed it. And
yeah.
I want to see all these Widow Mines go off at once.
It's going to be pretty disgusting. He's actually taking fire on his own siege tanks from the Widow Mines there. That's...
Yeah. Oh, there's a GG from Ray, though. And I think, I don't know, I mean... Well, I think I do know that Minimum Rage obviously was in the lead here, but I think Ray could have kept up his, run-by strategies and maybe got a little bit of extra damage. That he wasn't going to be able to win. There's a GG, so another win for Minimum Rage. Winimum Rage, I almost called him, but why not? It's it's a pretty good name for him at this point. And
Winimum Rage.
Yeah, that's gonna give us a 3-1 lead. So look at that. Things are kind of rolling for Team All Inspiration here.
Yeah, much like the siege tanks of Mini Rage, we are rolling forward to victory so far. We need 2 more. CT6 are trailing. They need 4 more wins, but with the quality of players that CT6 have remaining in the lineup, it's not unheard of that they could just win another 4 pretty straightforwardly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's go ahead and take a really short countdown break here while we get into the next matchup, where we will feature our first Zerg player of the night. Thank God.
Woo!
Now read the world. Oh yeah. I'm gone.
All right, here we go. Shakura's Plateau loading up into a ZVP here. And as we wait for the loading matchup, let's go ahead and talk about the players in this matchup. On in the bottom left corner, spawning for Team All Inspiration, the purple Protoss player, looking nice and sexy with that CTL mod. Thank you very much, Operator, for using that. It is the Operator.
Have we seen him this season yet? We've seen him once somewhere before, haven't we?
Well, he had to play a game in the regular season in order to be eligible for the playoffs, but what happened was he ended up getting a walkover victory in Week 7. So, but because he was selected to play.
First game.
Yeah, this is the first time we actually see him.
Nice. And his opponent is spawning in for CT6, the orange Zerg in the bottom right of Shakura's Plateau. It is Zaval.
Been so many games without a Zerg player, I almost forgot what they look like.
Yeah, old buggy and there.
What is that drone doing? Oh, that's a
scout. Yeah, that's just a scout drone. That's a fairly normal timing for scout drones to be moving out. It's nice because if you want to therefore reactively 3-hatch before pool, get a really early pool, oh my god, he's proxy gating, that type of thing, you can see all of the shenanigans. He's got the Overlord going to one base, he's got the drone going to the other base, so he's going to get a very fast scout on what the Operator's doing. Likewise for the Operator, he's going in with the 9 pylon scout, seeing what's up, saying, okay, you've gone, you spawned here, you've got no gas, we're going to go in and check for the pool now. Nice, casual, calm opening so far from both players.
Yep, and Zaval sees the... Oh, no, he doesn't actually. There he goes. Now he sees the gateway in the main for Operator, so he knows there's not going to be any sort of pylon shenanigans here. Operator, though, being pretty annoying with that probe. He's sticking around in the natural, waiting for that expansion. Zaval did go pool first, though, which is a nice safe build, and let's see if Operator drops that pylon.
Yeah, if he does drop the pylon here, there's going to be no cannons to follow it up. It's just purely to deny the natural for a bit. And on this map specifically, the third bases are very awkward to take for a Zerg player. So normally, Zergs might want to go for maybe a more 2-basey style to delay the third a bit, get a safe third. But Zaval here is forced into a third base that maybe he didn't want to take.
Yeah, he obviously... Oh, yeah, he's taking this one in the middle of the map here. That's a little bit different. I mean, I would have even moved it over to the top one, even though it is kind of far away.
Yeah,
that's going to be right in the margin.
It's sucky, right? I mean, both
Even
third bases suck.
yeah, for sure. I know. Even this far into the season, you're still not really sure exactly what the best thing to do is in terms of dropping a third base. Clearly, Zaval likes this option, and you know what? If he's going to be going for a fast sort of two-basey play, then it could work out because the rally point is a little bit closer. But it looks like he's getting ready to take that third in his natural, and only on one gas right now. So
Yeah, he's just getting that speed as a reaction to Operator's gateway expand. It's nice to have the Zergling speed out just in case the Operator wants to do some kind of crazy 4-gate aggression, but these Zerglings are just walking right in. Where's the defense? Oh, the Mothership Core's coming out, the Delta's coming out. Okay, nicely timed by the Operator. He might lose his probe, but these Lings shouldn't be a problem.
probe actually might get away there. Nicely done by Operator, shooing away those links. He's actually going to kill 3 of them for free. That fourth one's going to have to get away.
Nice.
Yeah, he did delay the natural here for Operator for a little bit, but really not.
But Operator
too much
also delayed Saval's natural, so it was a bit of an eye for an eye there. We do also see Operator has a cheeky proxy pylon on the top of the map here.
Why not? Protoss should be placing that almost every time, I think, in my opinion. If you have a probe out on the map, you might as well put a pylon somewhere. If it gets scouted, then, you know, he's getting a second base anyway, so he's not really invested in it. But he is going to drop down a couple gateways, I think, to follow up this natural. Or just
we're going up to 3 gateways so far. He's got 1 in the main, or 2 in the main, rather. 1 building in the main, 1 to help wall off in the natural. Maybe it would be nice to see a couple of these gateways a bit further away from the Overlord to try and hide your plans, but it looks like this Overlord from the Zaval isn't really planning on moving in anytime soon.
Yeah, he knows about the expansion at least, and he has that option to move in whenever he wants.
Oh, and he sees the Robo as well.
Yeah, pretty sneaky placement there, actually. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's subtle. You can see how much gas is being mined. You can see what's on this pylon as well. So he does know that Operator's going straight into the Robo, not opting for the Stargate or the Twilight Council first. So he's just got to prepare for any kind of Robo shenanigans. I mean, he could be expecting like a Warp Prism play on this map. You can just fly straight over, force field the ramp, and, you know, kill the main free, that type of fun stuff, which I'm sure you've faced.
I've seen it before, for sure.
Yeah.
The one thing is the gases are just now going down here. Just 2 extra gases about 7 minutes in here. So it's a little bit greedy by Zaval, but it's worked out so far because he's going to be almost fully saturated on 2 bases. He's got that third base for production if he needs it. The lair is starting, and I'm interested to see what he wants to transition into here, given what he's scouted. Because another thing we can see out of Operator here is some Immortals. And there we go, actually. 1 Immortal coming out. And I mean, Speedlings are going to be pretty good, but if that Immortal
just have Speedlings.
Yeah, if there's a lot of Zealots coming with that Immortal, then Speedlings will get wrecked. So
and the Sentries too, which Operator's walking in now as well. This is a pretty common strategy we see. And he's actually moving out with some of these Zealots. It looks like he wants to go and harass this third base a bit. Maybe clean out the Watchtower first.
Yeah, and I don't really have anything against that strategy. He's going to get a little bit of scouting in too, because I don't think he's really been over there much since the start of the game. So these Zealots moving across, Zaval sees them, but he doesn't really have a lot of links yet. He's going to make 22 links, and he's getting a Hydra Den to follow this up.
And Operator's just targeting the hatch down. This is really, really smart play from the Operator if he can get this down, and I think he can get this down. He's trying to go for the Queen as well, but if this hatch falls, that's a huge amount of production and income from Zaval that he's going to be losing. And
that Operator Queen goes down.
Out. Yeah, this is great. This is great for Operator.
That was an amazing play here. At first, I thought that that Time Warp was a little bit of an ambitious play there, but it actually worked out because it slowed that Queen down just enough. Ooh, recall, actually. I'm not too sure how happy I am with that. Safe.
Just being super safe, yeah. I mean, there's no reason not to lose these units. He doesn't need the overcharge anytime soon because on this map, I mean, you can just drop 2 force fields and nothing is going to come up this ramp, so Operator's feeling pretty safe right now. I think he's just going to be building up and moving out again onto the map. He's bringing 3 probes with him. I think he may be meant to box 1, but yeah, he's bringing some probes for proxy pylons. He's got a few out on the map, but it's always good to bring more because you want pylons closer and closer and closer and closer as you get closer with your army. And it looks like we have a follow-up attack with these 2 Immortals.
Yeah, I think this attack usually... Oh, those were some quick force fields, but just missing all the lings there. But yeah, I think this attack usually hits with 2 Immortals, doesn't it? And a handful of Zealots.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's getting some stalkers too.
Yeah, the problem here for Zaval is he really wants to be using 3 hatcheries to produce units to defend this right now, and he can only afford, or he can only use rather, 2 hatcheries, losing that third one earlier, and we do see his money starting to climb a little bit high here and there. So that third hatchery is really, really nice to have. An operator's just going to march right up into the natural by the looks of it.
Why not? He's got force fields, he's got immortals. Now, luckily, there's a nice amount of Hydras. Nice kind of flanked by these
Zerglings. Surround.
Yeah, wow, lots of key force fields there, blocking everything in place there for Zaval. Nicely done. Operator force fields, pretty good, by the way. I didn't realize they were that good. This what's it called? The War Prism, just picking up that immortal, dropping it. Gonna try to get some micro done there, but I think it's gonna go down pretty quickly.
Oh, the pickup on the immortal operator! Wow, that was so good. And these Hydras are actually really scary, but these Stalkers warping in just in time. Is Operator makes this look easy. I thought that was gonna go the other way, but Zaval loses all of his Hydras there. He's still just barely on 2 bases. This third is going down at the top, but Operator's just moving into the natural now.
Yeah, and
his way in.
Those immortals are going to tear through queens, are going to tear through hatcheries, and meanwhile, he's going to force field the ramp, and oh my god, that's so annoying.
No.
This hatchery's going down. All those drones are probably going down, and there's nothing Zaval can do about it. He can continually force field that, but instead
he doesn't even need to though. You can just kill all these lings at this stage. He can warp in another round of zealots or even stalkers at this stage. Here's a couple of zealots coming in, but Operator made this game look easy. I mean, there was a few things that Zaval could have done differently. Like he was very greedy. No Roach Warren. That's the first thing. Like you can have roaches out to hold that first attack with the 6 zealots on the third, but losing the third base is pretty critical there, I think. And you got to avoid that in future because that's just so much production you lose.
Yeah, well, being in Zaval's position many times in the past, I mean, when you're against a Protoss player who, or just any Protoss player, really, you really want to be on that 3-base economy before you really kind of get rolling. And sometimes you can get away with it, and that's the issue. When the Protoss player tries to play a macro game, that's when you can get your 3 bases droned up really quickly, and then you're kind of set for a while, and then you can go out for an attack. But having won games that way before is pretty bad because it puts you in a position where you think you can win doing that, and then you just get a little bit greedy and you lose to an immortal push, and that's what happens. He had a ton of Hydras too for 2 bases, but
that was like 20 Hydras or something. That was crazy.
Yeah, and
so many Hydras.
Nifty little immortal drop play by Operator there was enough to save the 2 immortals, and then at that point when you're breaking buildings so fast, I mean,
Operator's immortals were immortal that game.
Yeah, they were.
He didn't lose one.
Nicely done. So that is the 4th win for Team All Inspiration. So we're getting really close here to
One map win.
Yep, 1 map away from clinching the semifinals and moving on to the finals. Now, no matter what happens, we will always cast the rest of the games anyway. Hopefully, we can get some hype here for CT6, and the next matchup is going to be pretty good. Mr. Lando versus 1 HP for the win.
So he's a Brit. Sick.
Yeah, TVZ, and both players are really good. The only thing is that I know that Mr. Lando loves his ZVT, or his TVZ, I guess. In that.
You know what else he loves? The Lion King soundtrack.
Yeah. You know what? Those songs go so well with StarCraft. I never thought about it.
I know.
It's pretty awesome. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this all set up. We'll start the countdown, and we'll go into set number 7. Or 6, sorry.
Now read the world. Oh yeah. I'm gone.
All right, here we go. We are on Akalon Waste. We have a ZVT, and I'll start by introducing the Zerg player in the top left corner. Spawning for CT6, it's going to be 1 HP for the win.
And towards the bottom right-hand side of Akalon Waste, we have the blue Terran player from Australia for Echo Academy and All Inspiration. We have Mr. Lando, who was currently rocking out to some Lion King soundtrack. I think it was Circle of Life at this stage.
Yeah, it was like the intro to the movie, and it was awesome. And he was rocking his Lando overlay.
That's true.
I
Yeah,
want to
with
say his
Lando
name, but I'll
Calrissian.
probably mess it up. Is it Lando Cart? I'm not even
Lando Calrissian. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was an L in there somewhere, but yeah, it was pretty dope. We were all watching the stream and getting ready for this game here. So let's see what the plan's going to be for each of these players. In Zerg versus Terran, what's your kind of go-to, at least off the bat, like your go-to opening?
Back when I played Zerg, I liked to. I had a few builds, but I think the one I settled on, I was always a Ling player. I like the Zerglings, I like Banelings. That's why I played Zerg. I like Banelings. So I was always focused towards Ling Banelings. So I'd open up with the fast Ling speed. I'd aim for the 3 hatch, get the 2 evos, the boring macro Zerg style. But scout heavily, reacts. I'm a lot. If people were to compare me to a pro, I'd be like a worse version of life. I'd quite happily just react to something I see and just jump on that. So if I was 1 hit point for the win right now, I would be doing a lot of heavy scouting, seeing what's up.
All right, well, he's going to be dropping that spawning pool down now. We have a gas up for Lando, so he's going to be getting that Reaper. And sometimes in a few games I've played against Lando, he likes to mix in the 3 Reaper play sometimes. So I wonder if he's going to get a couple extra Reapers in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility on this map. Normally, you wouldn't like Reapers on this map, but because it's against a Zerg player, the creep is actually pretty far away from the natural and the main right now. So he can jump in and around with Reapers and abuse and kill a few things with Reapers. And we do see the second Reaper is coming out here from Lando. So there is the opportunity for having 3 Reapers. Like, was it an 11 rack, did you see? 11 racks is the most common for 3 Reaper.
I didn't actually catch the exact timing that's going down.
Okay.
He's going to be following it up with a command center, though. So getting that quick second base here after this Reaper. And as a Zerg player, it's always it's kind of shocking, even with 2 Reapers sometimes, when you know a Reaper's coming because you go scout that gas. This drone, by the way, is going to get wrecked. There it goes. There's a couple Lings on the way. 6 Lings actually out on the map now. Technically, this Reaper can micro for days, but it's sort of a lot of intensive babysitting that I don't think Lando really wants to do.
He has the APM for it, though. He can babysit, and he is babysitting quite well so far. He's getting he got a drone kill, which is more than he should have got already, and he's getting some of these Lings worked down as well.
Yeah, and his buddy has joined the map. I don't think he got that 3rd. No, he didn't get the 3rd Reaper, so it's just going to be 2. He's going to go ahead and scout that gas, though, and see that Zerg is going gasless. So he's, or I don't know, did he actually scout that yet? Doesn't look like it.
He's scouted in the main base and seen no gas, and that's why we see from Lando getting the quick second gas. He's going to opt for the Banshee. I would assume the very fast Banshee or the very fast siege tank, because there's going to be some form of likely roach play coming out of 1 hit point for the win. So we do see that Lando is flying the starport, the barracks all the way back down to the starport, getting the tech lab. So we are going to be seeing some quick Banshees coming out to follow up this Reaper play.
Yep, and we do have that double gas going down for 1 HP for the win, about to be finished here. So it's definitely screaming roaches now, especially since Lando is just here. Yeah, he's just killing drones. He's got 2 more drone kills. He's going to jump up, and not only drone kills is he getting, but he's picking off these Lings as well, and that's forcing 1 HP to have to make more Lings, and indirectly killing drones there. Although
like the units lost tab.
Yeah,
what units lost, rather. Yeah, that's the problem with not having creep spread between the main and the natural just yet, and also I wouldn't say the problem with going gasless, but like a hindrance of going gasless. Like if he had a Zergling speed out, these Reapers would have been home by now. But you see Lando's now moving out with the Hellions, so he's going to keep the pressure up, try to deny this creep spread.
Yep, and he's in a pretty good position here. Usually, I'd like to see a spine go down or something like that. Once you realize there's going to be extra Reapers bugging you, I don't know. I'm spine heavy though. Like I like getting spines, but it looks like he's just gonna use his queens here. He's gonna get a wall up on the top of the ramp. Akalon is a tough map to wall off, but it's not impossible. You just want to be careful that these queens don't stray too far though.
And my inner teeth box is so happy right now because we have a second factory coming down for Lando. We have Siege Tank coming out. We have the Cloak Banshee coming out. So we are going to be seeing, which is very good on this map, a mech follow-up for Lando. As you get these super easy 4 bases on Akalon Waste. It's very, very strong style.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with this, the way this sort of plateau works outside the natural here, you can defend your natural and your third base at the same time, just with a handful of siege tanks. So it's just asking to be a mech map for Terran, and it looks like that's what Lando wants to do. And with this Banshee here, the spores are going down nicely. Timed there for 1 HP. Where did that Banshee actually go?
I think it flew past an Overlord because 1 hit point hasn't scouted into the main base at all with an Overlord. That would have been happening maybe 2 or 3 minutes ago. So he hasn't gone for the Overlord scout. So the Banshee must have flown past.
Yeah,
either flown past an Overlord or he's just feeling the Banshees right now. Gotten a smell of it.
Yeah, well, it's never really a bad idea to get spores about 9 minutes into the game anyway. So scan going down for Lando. It's not really going to see much. It sees the Evos. I'm sure he's expecting a Roach play at this time. Did he see the Banshee or the Baneling Nest? No, he didn't. So this Baneling Nest, what do you think about that option when or for 1 HP here?
I think that's indicative of him not scouting the mech play yet. The Banelings is very unusual to see against mech play. So we are seeing a few safety Banelings that come down around now because Terran players, if he wasn't going mech, Lando wasn't going mech, you'd be wanting to move out soon to try and start denying the creep. So that this Baneling timing is pretty standard for a Bio-Terran, but Lando is building Thors and more Hellions and getting mech weapons. So 1 hit point is missing some key scouting information so far, I think.
Yeah, he does have an Overlord in position, but I guess he just forgot to move it in. And at this point, anyway, there's a turret in place to stop him from getting too much information unless he moved into the main, which is wide open, actually. So he could be doing that at any time, but instead he's going to not have the info here.
Lando's Banshees are flying through this forest of Overlords towards the right side. So many Overlords here. I think he's seen the Banshees with these Queens coming in, the Spore repositioning. Still hasn't, I don't think, clued into the mech play yet. If we see, we're waiting for the Roach Warren, the Infestation Pit, Spire, but we do see that melee upgrades have continued to be researched here. And some players do go for Ultras against mech, but that's kind of a niche thing.
It's also a ways away, too. It's going to take them a while to get there because the Infestation Pit not even down yet. So
Baneling speed, too.
And Lando I really like what Lando's doing here with this handful of Hellions and the Reaper. Just like, he keeps showing it as though that's what he has. And he actually got a nice scout on the Lings and Banelings just earlier there. So he's probably smiling right now well, the Overlord here holding position to the death. Totally getting murdered there by that Thor. So he knows Thors are on the map, and look at that Infestation Pit down right away. And I think we're going to probably see some Swarm Hosts at this point. I think he canceled one of those upgrades and switched him to a missile attack too.
Yeah, he cancelled Baneling speed. He cancelled the melee attacks. He's going into the Roach War on the Infestation Pit and the Hydralisk down. And I think he's going to look to get some damage done with these Banelings. But there's tanks up here. These Banelings are going to get shut down, but the door's open.
Oh my god.
Shut the door. Oh wait, it's a trap. It's a trap. That's the wrong Star Wars character, but that's fine. All of these Lings go down to the Hellions. And Lando takes a 50 supply lead.
Yeah, that was really lucky for Lando that he had all the Hellions back at home, because if they were out on the map or anything like that, we could have seen a lot of SCVs going down, but instead he's got the Hellions. He cleans up that without really losing too much at all, and he's just going to continue to secure this. I'd say he's got a lead right now.
Yeah, he's pumping out 4 tanks at a time, grabbing Blue Flame plus 2 mech weapons. 1 hit point is getting 10 Swarm Hosts out, so that is the start of the unit composition you want against mech, but he's still pretty down in supply right now, and he's also missing the 4th base and the 5th base that he'd like to be having right now, because he was suspecting the Bio coming out from Lando, so his 4th base is much later than he'd like it to be right now. And these Hellions, so many Hellions moving out on the map right now.
Yeah, this is an insane amount of Hellions, and the funny thing is with the composition that Lando's really going for, the Hellions are almost expendable at this point. He could really... He could just do whatever he wants with them. I mean, he can kill those Queens, he can swing around and just do whatever he wants.
And he sees the locusts coming down now, so he knows that swarm hosts are on the field. And arguably, you want to keep your Hellions alive at that stage because something that is kind of little known, but Hellions are kind of decent against locusts because the locusts like to line up, and the Hellions outrange them quite nicely. And once you get blue flame, the locusts are also light, so you can do some pretty nice damage to locusts and stop them getting up to your siege tanks.
That's
They'd
definitely
also
true.
be just a nice meat shield too.
Yep, and you can switch them into Hellbats and still be annoying with that too. So that is something I didn't really think about. But it looks like Lando's getting ready to siege 1 HP for the win up here. Swarmhost moving out onto the map too, and they're actually not burrowed right now. Lando sees that. He's gonna pick off that Overseer.
Yeah, this position is so annoying for 1 hit point for the Winter Press into. It's really hard for him to get a flank off because, I mean, you can kind of filter through from your own 4th base, but that's choked up, and you can't really come around the back because there's this huge gaping hole in the map. You have to go all the way around the bottom of the map, and at that stage you might as well do a run by. So this is going to be really hard for 1 hit point to break, especially given that he got the mech information so late into the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he would have went Roach Hydra to start with, then the Roach army would be so much bigger. But Vipers are on the way, and Vipers will be helpful, especially with the tanks here. And if they want to clump up, Blinding Cloud will be pretty damn powerful. But with the amount of Vikings on the field already, actually maybe not.
7.
There's nothing that shoots up, so these Vikings can sort of just lead the scouting party.
Is there nothing? I know there was a Hydralisk den and an Infestation Pit. We have no Infestors, no Hydralisks. It's just Roach, Swarmhost, Viper. There's a few Queens, but they're busy injecting to even help out right now.
1 HP setting up this decent flank here. He's going to come up from the top side and the left side, but there's so many tanks and they're spread out pretty well that it doesn't really matter. Some tanks are going to go down, but these Hellbats are going to tank some of that Roach damage and let the Roaches get shelled by siege tanks, and this is looking really tough.
As well.
Yeah, we got more bases being built. He's moving over to take the 4th base. Lando is really securing a stronghold on this game right now.
Yeah,
and he's not even harassing. He's just standing outside the front.
Yeah, just by sitting here, you threaten.
These Vipers.
Berserk's 4th base. You deny him all of the right side bases, and you can kind of try and sneak out towards the bottom 2 bases. But Lando has the Hellion there. He knows that these bases are empty. He knows that Zerg is on 4 bases, just barely, kind of. He's on soon to be a solid 4 bases. He's got how many orbitals? He's building his 7th, is it? Or 6th? I don't know. Lando is feeling comfortable right now. He just needs to be aware of any kind of crazy transition, like Broodlords coming out. But he's got so many Vikings and turrets and Thors. This is looking pretty grim for 1 hit point. That's why you got to scout this mech early.
Yeah, Hydras are only just now making their way out onto the field, but he's actually just going to GG.
Yeah, I think that's a fair decision, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he was almost maxed out.
You can say it's early, but on the flip side, you can also say I misplayed by scouting the mech late, and it's almost. I'd argue it's a sign of respect to Lando, saying that you're too good and you've got too much of a lead for me. That's fine. I won't.
He also had 8 Hellions that were about to run by in the 3rd base over here with only 1 Queen to defend it. So all those drones would have been taken out, and that 3rd probably would have went down. So Lando.
That's why you got to scout with the Overlord around 6:37ish. You'd see then. What would you see? You would have seen the Cloak Banshee, and if you see Cloak Banshee, that's normally a lead into mech. So you got to do a follow-up scout then and make sure you can not get hard countered in that strange way. Banelings don't do much to mech unless you're an ST.
Yeah, and something that kind of got lost in the win there is that was the 5th win for Team All Inspiration. So we're actually clinching a spot in the finals with that win. So, wow, way to go, Lando! Yeah, everybody who played that week, and actually for once we got Stark representing the only loss for Team All Inspiration.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you go up against Kulaheen, that's something.
It's a shame.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. But it's still kind of funny since, you're considered probably one of the better players on the team. But
Mini Rage, man. Top player.
Yeah.
I've lost more than him.
I think he's only lost 1 game all season. So definitely a good pickup for Team All In. And yeah, we clinched a spot into the final. So I can't wait to get into that one. But anyway, let's finish off this week here and get ourselves into the next match, which is going to be another TVZ. So let's go ahead and show our countdown and we'll get into the game. All right, we're back. We're on Zelnaga Caverns once again, and we have a ZVT. So let's go ahead and introduce the Terran player for Team CT6 on the bottom left corner of Zelnaga. It's going to be Baby Puncher.
And towards the upper right side of Zelnaga Caverns, we have our Red Zerg player for all inspiration. It is Einherjar.
TVZ on this map, and I think it's worth noting here, Baby Puncher is actually the wife of Vespasian, and she's pulling a bunch of SCVs.
Yeah, from what I've gathered, I would assume that one of them played StarCraft and then got the other into it, and the playstyles seem to sort of mesh together, and they both play very similarly. Unfortunately, this Overlord flies right over these two SCVs that are on the map at a very unusual time for standard play. So I think Einherjar is clued into what's going on with these SCVs already. So he's actually going for a 13 pull. It's a nice reaction.
Yeah, pretty much hard countering this here. The barracks does still get bait over here on the right side. One more thing to point out, though, is the fact that with all the player scouting we did during the week of the semifinals, it was already expected that this type of play was going to come. So yeah, that Overlord just confirms it, and Einherjar knows, okay, 13 pool, and that pretty much, like, what can a 2-Rax do against a 13 pool unless, like, the micro is immaculate?
Not much. I mean, I've seen, like, Innovation make it look one-sided for the Terran, but yeah, that's actually the only pro I've even seen make that happen. Yeah, there's pros and cons to players who are easily scoutable. Like, we have several players our own who are easily scoutable, like Mini Rage. I mean, if you scout and prepare against him, you can maybe do quite well, but yeah.
Sinistar letting us know he's pretty easily scoutable as well, I think.
Roach Hydra, that's true. I don't think I'm very easily scoutable, but there's pros and cons, right? I mean,
yeah,
if you're easily scoutable, you have a playstyle that you're very comfortable with and you're good at. We are seeing the Lings come up very early. They're going to be able to deny this bunker quite straightforwardly. These Lings are out at a very unusual time. Normally, this hatchery would be maybe finishing up around now, and then the Zerg would be like, oh god, there's bunkers. But with that Overlord positioning and these SCVs going straight under the Overlord, this is the problem with cheese. By definition, if you scout it, it's quite easy to hold.
Yeah, for sure. And especially when you have constant Ling production now, already 4 minutes into the game, these Lings are going to surround the only Marine on the field. Actually, they didn't get the surround, but they do take it out. And he's going to pull back just to be a little bit safe. There's 2 more Marines, so he wants to grab the extra 4 Lings that are popping out now. 6 more on the way as well. And this is not looking very good for Baby Puncher.
Yeah, Baby Puncher, she's going to have a pretty hard time. There's only 8 SCVs mining at home. She's missing a mule as well. She is going to have to go and wall off before these Lings decide to go and counterattack. But we do see that Einherjar is taking his natural... It's fairly secured at this stage, building the Spine Crawler just to make sure. And these Lings are going to go and counterattack, but they will find a wall off.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to get into that wall off just now, but they'll be able to pick off a couple more SCVs at least. And at this point, he could probably just start droning up his natural. He's got enough Lings on the field, I think.
Yeah, at this stage, you've got to be aware of... You're facing a one-base Terran player who failed a cheese. And here we have some of the stuff we'll talk about afterwards, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Baby Punch is in a pretty high-stress situation right now, I believe she's pregnant as well, so playing for a team in the semi-finals whilst... I mean, it's difficult. I don't blame her.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Tough spot here. Definitely. These Lings don't even have to wait to be morphed into Banelings because there's not even any Marines on the map. And I think Baby Puncher is just sort of taking a breath and realizing what's happened here. And it's also worth noting, guys, that at the time of this game, this was actually the 5th win for All Inspiration in terms of how, you know, the order in which games were played in real life as opposed to the sets. So this game is what clinched it for the finals here. And I mean, I remember when I lost my game in the quarterfinals. It was early in the week. It was, I think it was the first game of the week, and it didn't really have too much bearing on anything, and I felt like absolute crap, and it was like one of the worst feelings in the world for me. So this being the clinching game, I mean, I can only imagine how I would feel. So
Yeah,
no real surprise, and I'm not too
I don't blame her at all, to
exactly.
be
That's what I was gonna
honest.
say. I don't blame the anger, but she's sticking in the game here. She's got three barracks now, trying to churn out some Marines. But at this point, Bailing Nest is on the way. Double gas taken. I'd probably like to see a few
Yeah.
more drones coming out of Einherjar, but he looks to be mostly focusing on just trying not to lose. Which at this point, when you have this type of lead, it doesn't matter what you do. You'll end
Yeah,
up
I
in the
think
game.
with the Overlord Scout in the early game, I mean, Einherjar has effectively he's got a set of decisions which is basically a kill sequence. Like he knows that okay, if I go 13 pool, I can completely shut down your two racks because I scouted it before you even built the barracks, which is ridiculously fast and very unheard of. So good job there on Heya for managing to pull that one off.
And
And then he knows that you can just eventually Baneling bust through because he held the two racks so easily.
so TB Ham brought up a good point in chat here that you were responsible for coaching half our winners of the week. So that was definitely true. I wasn't trying to say like you lost your game and ha 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 or anything like that. Like you definitely helped in that case, and that leads to me asking how many practice games did you do with Einherjar to hold off any sort of early play from Hunter?
So normally I'm the one going around Skype chat nagging people. Einherjar came to me and Canary and said, "Yo, I need to win this game," and I was like, "Oh, you're being pretty proactive, so that's good." And he played a bunch with Canary. I don't know how many games. I would guess up between 5 and 10 minimum of just 11-11 builds. So they worked out that pool first at maybe 14, 15 is ideal, but Einherjar scouted this earlier, so we could get an even earlier pool down to hold this. And then I was aware that Baby Puncher and Vespasian, they play very similarly, so it's going to be a lot of SCV pulls. It's a very dangerous play style for both players involved because it's very binary. Like if you don't scout it, it's very one-sided. If you do scout it, and you know how to respond to it, it's very one-sided the other way. So I was coming up with as many different one-base SCV pulls as I could. So I did it 11-11. I did Blue Flame Hellbats. I didn't do siege tanks. I did two racks with gas, so Marauder concussive shell timing. I did two Port Banshee. I did Proxy Thor.
So a lot, basically.
Yeah, and we grinded those games out until we knew what to scout for, what to do when you receive partial information, what to do when you receive full information, how to respond to that, what you do in each situation. And if Einherjar didn't hold it, we resumed from the replay, said, okay, this went wrong, change these things, do this thing differently, and eventually he held every single thing I could throw at him. So
yeah, and that's going back to when you play a certain style like every game. In a league like the CTL where it's best of ones all the way through up until the ace match, it's like you really have to be able to switch up your play because like this is a perfect example. You know exactly what you're coming up against, so you just counter the build and it's easy from there. You know, it's not even a point of what league a player is in. I mean, if you practice as much as Einherjar did, or anybody would in that situation, and you know exactly what's coming at you a week beforehand, it's not that hard. So that looks like that's
that
what we
being
saw
said,
there.
we also done goofed in this one.
We did. So I'll let you explain that.
As Baby Puncher alluded to during the game in the midst of her, quite rightful so, anger, we did slightly misread the rules regarding previous higher leagues players. So Einherjar is an ex-Diamond player, but I believe for the past 3 seasons he's been gold. But I believe also that the CTL rule is not including the current season. The previous 3 seasons need to be of a lower league or something like that. So we missed 1 season off in our calculations of whether he could be eligible for this and previous games, to be honest. So
yeah, and it was hard for anybody to really catch it. But I think it goes down as a 0-0. That's what TB Ham told me. Maybe he can confirm in the chat. But I think it was a 0-0 So
I think Peace also said we're happy to grant the win either way, but
yeah, we've already won our 5 games, so to be honest, it really doesn't matter.
yeah.
But
So apologies to CD6 and
yep.
all of the other teams that we played Iron against. We screwed up, but that's
it was a
how
pretty
things go
ambiguous
sometimes.
rule. It was hard to catch, you know, like it really only
Well,
got
yeah,
brought in when
all of
somebody.
our team missed it. All of the admins missed it. All of the other teams we played missed it. All of CD6 except Baby Puncher missed it. So props to Baby Puncher for spotting that one.
Yep.
Sorry that your game had to go this way. That kind of sucks, but that's how life goes sometimes.
Yeah, it was just the timing of it too that was really bad. But anyway, that is going to lead us into our last break of the night while we get ourselves set up for the ace match. It's actually probably a good point now to note that we're missing a game. Set number 2 is supposed to be Cyrex versus Extraneous, and this it feels kind of weird saying it right now because technically the score would be 5-2 right now.
Yeah, I lost.
Oh yeah.
And
well, yeah. No, never mind. It's 5-2.
0-0?
Well, it would be either 5-1 or 5-2, depending on whether or not CT6 actually got the win for Baby Puncher. TB Ham said that it was a 0. It was a 0-0, so I guess the win didn't actually count for them. But Cyrex had set 2 that was supposed to be played towards the end, like Sunday night after everything had already been done, and his opponent didn't show up. So they had.
However, he did get promoted from all the practice he did.
Yeah, and
so
that's he was so disappointed because you guys have worked so hard to try to get the win. He was ready for anything. Opponent doesn't show up, but he did get promoted to platinum. So yeah, that's the thing. And Cyrex being in plat was hard for a lot of us to get used to, but he deserved it. He really worked really hard. And while we're talking about him, we might as well say how he basically shot right through his ASL group. I think I don't remember if it was before or after. I think it was after, but the improvement stuck. So he's at least happy for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's got to fix a bit of macro and he'll be diamond, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's not even like just BSing. That's genuine.
All right,
well, macro diamond.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our break here, about 5 minutes, I think, and we'll jump into the ace match to finish things off. But congratulations to all the winners of their games leading up to this point. All in did already win the week, so not too much hype with the ace match, but it's Pisosa. We gotta stick around and watch.
Pisosa deserves hype.
Yeah, he was so confident about this match too, so I'm interested to see what he's going to do in this ZVZ that we're going to be seeing.
All right, we'll see you guys after the break.
Yep.
Of you.